It's time for another Out of Bounds Rewind with Bo Bounds on ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. Mike joins us on the Yuengling Lager guest line. Mike, talking about his legacy, I mean, if you were sharing Mike Leach's legacy and impact like 10 years from now, what would you say to somebody that may not know as much about Coach Mike Leach?
Well, his impact on the game. He was a unique personality, which made it easier, I guess, that concept of the air raid system, because him and Hal Mummy sort of brought this into college football. We had seen bits and pieces of it before. Lavelle Edwards had some bits of it when he was coaching at Brigham Young. And we saw Spurrier, his impact at Florida. He was at Duke before. But this was a little different. And so how they attacked you, which offensively they ran sort of the same plays but out of different formations. So it wasn't super complicated. And, man, I got a lot of information about Mike for meeting him through Sonny Dykes because Sonny's first head coaching job was at Louisiana Tech. And Sonny would talk about Mike all the time, about how Mike sort of went after you, offensively. And he said, you see the impact all across high school and college football. And he said, it won't be long. He said the NFL, sort of hard-headed, that they're going to come in a little bit later. And you see it there, too, with a lot of the younger coaches bringing in certain concepts of it. But how maybe the thought of it didn't have that personality like Leach did. I mean, Mike was unique in how he spoke and how he could explain things and how he could get off subjects. I think looking back during my run, the most unique personalities to answer or not answer questions, Les Miles had that sort of deal too. You asked him something and sometimes you sort of shook your head about, or you forgot what you asked him originally. And he'd come up with an answer. He'd give you something that's not what you would think, and Mike was like that too. And the only other guy that I know of that would talk about Pirates as much as Leach did is the guy I work with, Bobby Hebert. No, Hebert talks about Pirates all the time, but so did Leach. I mean, so it would have been the perfect marriage there. But I think if you're looking at it historically, I think what he brought along with Hal changed this game from three different levels, in that you see a lot of the concepts of that air raid, and you saw it in college and certainly the high school ranks. You see it that's done a lot, and now it's into pro football. Very few people have had that type of impact. Bo, I'm just telling you that there ain't a lot of people that have that type impact, and it's what it's done. It's opened the game for teams that have this right combination of pitch and catch, and it's sort of, maybe you saw it yesteryear where you would do it out in somebody's backyard. You were doing it on a football field, a pitch and catch. And so it's a huge impact on the game, how it changed it. I think it has made the game more open for others to be competitive at the collegiate ranks.
Yes.
And I think that's the biggest part of you before, a Texas Tech or a Baylor or a Washington State. Come on, that's not a perennial power in football, okay? But he was able to make it through that, and proteges what you see now at TCU with Sonny. Sonny took a lot of what he has done and what he learned through Leach and sort of put it in his own little capsule. And everybody's done that across the board that has worked with him. They've taken a bit and a piece of it and used it in their own little game, and you see it. You know, Cliff does a lot of it now with the Arizona Cardinals because he was part of that. And Sean McVay has talked in the past about, in watching a lot of what Leach was doing in different places, that he's used some of those concepts. You have now in the NFL, they'll hire a coach that will watch what's happening in the college game to see how much of that can be transferred to the pros. And I think a lot of that had to do with Mike and with how originally put in.
Don't miss one moment of the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.